the Los Angeles Clippers getting a huge win over the Denver Nuggets to even up that series, a series which I'm going to say at this point is on like a best first round series of all time kind of trajectory. Just like unbelievably wire to wire competitive basketball in both these games, such high quality stuff. And it ends up being Kawhi Leonard, Logan, who carries the Clippers through 39 points with 4 missed shots from the field. It is the 7th most efficient 35-point playoff game ever in terms of true shooting percentage. And of course, he hits the dagger to put the Clippers up 105-102 and hold on to win this game. As somebody, Logan, who has been a Clippers doubter and who has denied that Kawhi would even be healthy for this playoff run, what do you have to say for yourself?
Yeah, of course you had to be on some hater shit to start us out. I mean,
Nope,
yeah,
you
dude.
are the one who's been on hater shit with the Clippers all year.
Yeah, but you got to bring it up. Dude, Kawhi, this is one of the best basketball games I've ever seen a person play in the playoffs. Kawhi was unstoppable tonight.
He
I ain't
does
got
this.
nothing bad to say, bro. Like, we're here. I never doubted that Kawhi could play this good. I doubted that he was going to be here. Like, I'm in disbelief. This guy looks unstoppable. He was the basketball terminator tonight, and he was the best player on the court. That was the difference to me. The Nuggets could have won this game. I thought that the way the supporting pieces played with what you got out of MPJ tonight, what you got out of Westbrook, how they collectively rebounded and hustled, how Jamal played, I thought the Nuggets very well could have won this game. And in my opinion, needed to. I just think all these games in this series are going to be super crucial. And to lose this one in crunch time like this, I thought it was a very uncharacteristically poor Jokic performance.
Yes.
In the clutch, man. 7 turnovers. I thought he just had some really bad. Uncharacteristic's the right word, man. Just like careless turnovers and careless moments in this game where I was scratching my head. He struggled from the free throw line. And I thought Harden played below his expectations. I thought you got an incomplete game out of Norman Powell. And so I just thought this was a very winnable game. And I'm kind of disappointed at Jokic and what we got out of him down the stretch, man. I thought the Nuggets had this one in their hands and in their grasp, but Kawhi put them over the finish line, man. Kawhi was not going to be denied tonight. Kawhi was the best player on the court, and like, no lie, like, that is one of the best playoff performances I've ever seen by any player ever.
It's one of the best scoring performances, especially. Like, this dude shot 15 of 19 from the field, and I believe he had 1 field goal attempt that was not a jump shot. He had 1 attempt at the rim. So he was 14 of 18 on jumpers. That is so stupid. Actually, I think he might have been 14 to 17 because he missed a layup. So, like, what do you even do with that, man? He is cooking Jamal Murray early in this game, but he's destroying everybody in single coverage. Like, it really doesn't matter. There's nobody who is physical enough on the planet, nobody who is strong enough to knock him off his spots, nobody who can speed him up in single coverage. And then he's just going to rise up and shoot over top of you. And Logan, I don't know how many times I've given this spiel about Kawhi Leonard over the years, but he's one of the greatest playoff scorers that we have ever seen. I recited these numbers so many times, but from 2017 to 2023 in the playoffs, Kawhi gave you 30 points per game on almost 64% true shooting. That is counting numerous deep playoff runs, and the consistency year to year is honestly unmatched among all playoff scorers in that time period. I would say that Jokic is the guy who makes the best case in terms of a scoring resume up against that. But when you can't speed a guy up, when he is always going to be stronger than you, and in a playoff environment, that is such an advantage when they allow more physicality, when he is so precise with his handle, and when he is that big and that insane as a jump shooter, like, there's just nothing
I
you can
mean,
do. And so,
dude, he's just marching guys down to his spots and
yep,
rising above them. Like, it's actually unstoppable.
zero wasted movement and one of the most efficient scorers that we've ever seen, one of the most unaffectable scorers that we have ever seen in this game. So when he gets in that mode, like, you literally just have to double every possession. I'm not just talking blitz him out of pick and roll. That's obvious. I'm saying if he is looking at a dude in isolation, you double and you force him to make a decision and you leave Kris Dunn and you force the Clippers to beat you with a 4-on-3. Cause, like, I'm just not letting a dude who is shooting 80% from the field, continue to get whatever he wants against me. And honestly, if I'm the Clippers, like, I don't think you need to have Kawhi running much pick and roll because you just make it easier for Denver to bring that second defender into the action and pressure him and send two at him. Like, let him cook in isolation because he's getting whatever he wants every time down. But I got to say, man, the fact that they let him get a one-on-one look, even though it's against Aaron Gordon on that possession where he doesn't ice this game, but he scores the final bucket of the game, I just would have done anything to force the ball out of his hands. I'm sending two defenders at him. Like, you cannot let him be the one to put you away as a scorer because he struggled again with the double teams and the blitzes in this game. It maybe wasn't as bad in the first game when he had 7 turnovers, but still, he's uncomfortable at times against those looks. And I thought that it was a mistake to let him put them away, and that's exactly what he did, man. It's truly one of the great scoring performances that we've seen in the playoffs, and I agree with what you said about Jokic. This just was one of the sloppiest games that I've seen from him in a high stakes moment like this in the postseason. The 3 ball was money for him, and that was huge. We've talked about how key that's going to be in this series for him, right? Pulling Zoo out into space, not feeling like he has the sort of normal advantage that he does out of the post because Zoo is the best Jokic defender there is. So he's inclined to play more from the perimeter. They're going to give him some of those pick and pop looks, and like he was hitting those, but honestly, that was the only thing that was really going at peak Jokic level. I thought his decision making was bad. There are a number of turnovers, of which he had 7, that are just like really inexcusable decisions. And you just have a couple of mental errors, like after he got the offensive rebound, forcing that shot up, not understanding the shot clock. Like, that's so uncharacteristic for Jokic. That was costly.
Though I just didn't like a lot of Denver's late game execution in this one. I mean, MPJ coughing up the rock in transition, and then that leads to a 3 ball that they give up. And
Yeah.
but before I forget, I just wanted to say, dude, on the final possession, I don't know how you felt. The fact that the Nuggets got up 2 shots and Jamal Murray didn't take either of them really just didn't sit well with me, man. Like, to me, he has earned the respect, and he has the. I think Jamal Murray is just one of those clutch guys that in the big spots of games, I want him. I don't think Brown should have shot the ball, man. Like, I get that it's open and it's in rhythm, but I just would have rather.
Yeah.
He got
And
the
it
ball back
wasn't
to
even
Jamal,
really
man.
in rhythm. I mean, he passed up the initial open
It
look
just
to
was
pump
kind of.
fake.
He was off balance at the top of the
Yeah.
key. I just didn't. And they end up getting it back, and Jokic has an attempt, but I just wanted Jamal to get one of those shots, man. I think it was a lot of. Again, man, I think Denver just had a lot of mistakes, man, that just weren't like them in this game.
Definitely. They wanted to go fast, obviously, and Brown felt like he had a shot, but you see the hesitation with him that has been a thing in his entire career with his three-point shot, and he ends up taking a tougher look than the one that he could have had initially. But I do put a lot of this on Jokic, man, because I think a lot of the dudes around him did their jobs to win this game. I thought that Jamal didn't have it going in the fourth quarter, but still had a really productive scoring game overall and was nails as a pull-up shooter. Michael Porter Jr. did a complete 180 from his game 1 performance where his effort was apathetic. They closed with him off the floor. He has 15 rebounds. I bet you that's a playoff career high for Michael Porter Jr. He had 6 offensive rebounds. So he goes from being the lowest effort guy on the floor to the guy who's attacking the glass most aggressively. And that's a huge advantage for Denver in this matchup. We obviously saw that really decide game 1 down the stretch. And then they again cleaned up on the offensive glass. They were +8 there. So he did his job. He was efficient as a shooter as well. Russell Westbrook, God bless him, dude, knocks down those 2 huge corner threes. That's all he has to do, man. Like, if he doesn't hit those shots, the Nuggets are literally playing 4-on-5 offensively because they will send 2 to the ball on every pick and roll. They'll send 2 at Jamal. They'll surprise double Jokic. Like, they will just attack the Nuggets' best players to leave Russell Westbrook wide open in the corner. But he made both of those shots, and then he attacks the closeout in the next possession. So, like, he did his job in those minutes. It's just some of the decision-making from Jokic, some of the turnovers. Like, he forced a lob to Peyton Watson when he had a mismatch that was just way off target. There were a couple times where he spun into a surprise double and he turned it over. Then there were a number of times where I just wanted him to be more aggressive as a scorer. Like, I think when Ivica Zubac is not on the floor, Jokic has to be a killer as a scorer, man, because I thought that the Clippers were going to play a backup center. I thought they'd play Drew Eubanks in this series, and I'm very glad for their sake that they haven't, because Ben Simmons is a way better basketball player, and like Jokic isn't trying to attack their lack of size. Not that Drew Eubanks would really make a difference. Like, I think they're right to play Simmons no matter what. It's just in the regular season, they consistently played a backup center in the non-Zoo minutes, but Jokic walked Ben Simmons to the rim on one possession and did not look to score other than that, except he got one mismatch on a post up and basically flopped and drew a foul. But like, he has to go. He has to really punish them for being small in those minutes. But it's the last possession too, man. I mean, there's just a few spots where you feel like he doesn't really have a great sense of the spacing around him, just a little bit chaotic, just a little out of control, and basically throws the ball away. And then he's also bad from the line, as you mentioned. So if Jokic plays his best game, if Jokic plays a normal game of his, Denver wins, because the dudes around him all played pretty darn well, and he was just uncharacteristically sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the exact point that I was going to get to, man, is that, like, that's what makes this Denver loss so disappointing, I think, is every other factor I feel like for Denver went right in this game. I felt like Jamal Murray pulled his weight. MPJ, as you said, did his job. Aaron Gordon could have played a little bit better offensively, admittedly. But
Could have made that dunk, that's for sure.
I thought did his job tonight. And, like, some of the other role players, like, I thought this was a good game from Peyton Watson, and we got some good Jalen Pickett minutes. Like, Westbrook was good. Jokic is the reason I feel like Denver didn't get this one done, man. Like, obviously Jokic has a great game by, like, normal standards, but by Jokic standards, if we're holding him to his standard, I felt like this was a pretty bad Jokic game. And I didn't feel like the Clippers threw their best punch either. I'm still waiting for the Clippers to have a really good shooting night. Like, Norman Powell has yet to really put a game together end to end. Bogdanovich has yet to really shoot well in this series. Like, I feel like I'm waiting for the Clippers to play better too. And the Nuggets leave this one in the balance. I think this one's going to go 7, man. This is my favorite series so far, dude. I think that – and I got to admit it too. We got a super chat, Carson, talking about Kawhi being one of the best in the world. Look, I'm not going to lie. Like, the level that Kawhi's been at is a top 10 level. Like, I can't deny that. Like – it's only the health with Kawhi. That's only been the thing. And the level that he's at is, he's there. I don't have to question that, man. And it's got to be scary. Like, the Clippers are a real deal contender, man. I feel like whoever comes out of this series is going to be hell to deal with, man, because they are going to be battle tested.
I agree, dude. I mean, Denver looking like a more serious defensive team, that's obviously been the battle that they have been fighting all year. Well, they haven't really been trying that hard, but now these last couple games, they've picked up their level to where they're at least a respectable defense. And then I've just been really high on the healthy Clippers. And I think we got to start talking about Kawhi and James Harden as a top 5 duo in basketball, Logan. I mean, we did that list a few months ago. I'm just happy that I had them on there, because at the time, I mean, Kawhi had just come back and it was kind of a bet on him reaching the level that he has now, because I'm a huge Kawhi believer. I just think he's so special, especially in these playoff environments. But James Harden's been playing like a top 20-ish player for several months now.
And even though this was
he didn't have his best game, but he still was very solid.
Exactly.
Still creating good offense out of pick and roll. I still think him and Zoo, such a potent duo, and like, you got to give props to Zoo for his playmaking off the short roll. I thought the Nuggets did a nice job of blowing up a couple plays, making a couple of catches difficult for Zoo, intercepting a pass that he tried to make off the short roll. But like, overall, they were still generating good offense.
Man. He's so dependable.
He is. And some really impressive hook touch shot making in this one, where he's just so special. He really is a phenomenal third player for them. But it's that duo, man. Like, if I were to ask you right now, do you want Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to start your team from scratch, or do you want Kawhi and Harden? Like, presuming
you're saying for a game, you're saying for like a game
run, for a playoff run.
Yeah, I would hear you for Kawhi and Harden. I think the level of consistency that you get from Kawhi is just so different, man. Kawhi's, dude, you said it earlier, bro. He's so efficient. Like, he doesn't waste time. He doesn't waste. If he's got the ball in his hands, like, he's just decisive and he's unstoppable. It's crazy, bro. Like, he's so damn good when available.
He is one of the greatest
What would
playoff
you give him?
scorers
Like,
we
what,
have
top
ever
six,
seen.
top seven? Like, to me, it's like him and LeBron is what I'm debating between, or like him and a Steph. I think is like the line where I'm drawing with Kawhi. Like, peak
You're
for
saying
peak
in the
right now.
NBA right now?
Yeah, I'm saying that's about the line that I'm drawing. I still think I'm probably taking both of those guys though.
Yeah. It's tricky because like I do think that Kawhi is not the player that he was a couple years ago, right? I think he still has his really high moments defensively, and he's certainly a plus there overall, but not a dominant defensive player, not getting to the rim or the line at the same rate. So, for those reasons, I would say that like he's in that top 12 group that is locked, right? Because I just think that there's 12 dudes who are playing at a top 10 level. I would say that top 6 or 7, that's probably a little bit high. Like, the level
Would you?
Steph's been playing at, the level I think Anthony Davis is at as a two-way force when fully healthy. I know
AD
some
and
people
him is
might push
close.
back on that. It's close. It is close. I mean, he's in all those conversations, and, like, when it comes to just playoff scoring, outside of Jokic, Shea, I don't know if I can take anybody over Kawhi Leonard just as a pure playoff scorer. Like, Luca is obviously going to make his case, but he hasn't been consistently at his best as a scorer this year. The dude is just an absolute machine. He is so dependably productive and so dependably efficient. So he's the hero of this game, obviously. He's the leading man for the Clippers. The other dude who I need to shout out is Kris Dunn, man, because what a fucking defensive game he played. He is so phenomenal, not just as a point of attack guy, but where I thought you really felt his impact in this game is as a free safety. I mean, just blowing shit up on the back end, surprise doubles on Jokic, making plays as the low man when Jokic is trying to spot cutters, like just shrinking the floor and being destructive and being unpredictable as a defensive weapon. He's really, really good. And I know that you were talking about the offensive issues in game one, and you saw them again in this one, right? I mean, he is a guy who the Nuggets should be very, very comfortable roaming off of, and I still think he's worth having on the floor. I'd hear the case for Nick
Mm-hmm.
Batum closing over him because Batum is so good, but I thought Kris Dunn was a clear positive in this game, even with his major offensive issues, because he made so many huge defensive plays.
I tend to agree. I mean, he's still a liability offensively, but you got crazy, stupendous defensive playmaking from Dunn in this game. And what I like too, man, is like little stuff, like the timing of when he's blitzing Jokic at the free throw line and stuff like that. Like, he's just so smart. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
that you can't teach defensive instincts like Dunn has, and the Clippers have a lot of good defenders, man. That's what I like about all the Clippers role players. You know, they're distinct archetypes, but they're all really, really valuable. You know, even if it is Ben Simmons or Kris Dunn, and while their liabilities offensively, they still have decent playmaking instincts offensively, even though their tendency isn't to shoot. And then they're really impactful defensively. And then, you know, the shooters that they have, Norman Powell and Bogdan Bogdanovic. Like, again, I'm still waiting on those guys to really shoot consistently well. I get Powell gets it going late. I still think he can play way better. Both of these teams are really terrifying at full health, man. I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed at the level that both of these teams are at in this series, man. And it's never
Yeah.
I can't get a read on it, man, on what I think the rest of this series is going to play out like because it's so neck and neck. It's so close between both of these teams.
I would bet that this goes 7. I think that Jokic can be better in all of the areas that we laid out, more aggressive, especially when Zoo is off the floor, just has to make better decisions, take better care of the basketball. 20 turnovers for the Nuggets in this one just absolutely killed them, as it did for the Clippers in game one. And a lot of that was on Kawhi. He had 7 turnovers in that game. I think you feel good about the fact that MPJ is engaged again if you're the Nuggets. I think you feel really good about the level that Aaron Gordon has been at because he was so great in game one and was still really solid in this one. I think both teams honestly should just be feeling good about the basketball that they're playing. I think that James Harden is capable of having more big performances that are closer to game one than game two, because I truly do not think the Nuggets can stay in front of him.
Agreed.
And so I just think his scoring ceiling is a lot higher than what he showed in this one. And his finishing was great in game one. He misses a layup in this one, but the floater's going. The three ball is
I just
mostly
think he needs
going.
to stay aggressive, man, like in
Yeah,
attack mode. Because when he is, like, he's hard to stop. I don't think the Nuggets have a good answer for him on ball.
they do not. The one guy for the Clippers who really hasn't played up to his potential is Norman Powell, who made a couple big shots in the fourth quarter of this one, but just his decision making has been pretty suspect. I thought it was worse in game one, but he has some really dynamic offensive potential as an off-ball scorer that I don't think we've really seen fully unlocked. But they've just got a nice rotation, man. I mean, Batum is still giving you phenomenal minutes, good defensive performance in this one. He hits another no dip three. Bogey's the other guy who really hasn't played very well. Like, he's not making shots and he's a target defensively. But I feel the same way that I did coming into this series, which is that it's just a little bit harder for the Nuggets to slow down the Clippers than vice versa. That margin has shrunk even a little from where it was before the series to me, because the Nuggets have just been more engaged. I think this has been some of the better defense that we've seen from them, but I still think that the Clippers have the higher two-way ceiling, and that's going to be the reason that I think they narrowly get through this series. But I say it's on a best first round trajectory that we've seen. Like, it's there, man. They keep this up. You think Knicks Sixers last year, you think Mavs Clippers in 2021, that was absolutely electric. You think, of course, Bulls Celtics in 2009, you think Clips Spurs in 2015. Those are like the first handful that
Mm.
come to mind for me, but just the quality of basketball and how tight these first two games have been, and just the stars on the floor, man. Kawhi and Harden and Jokic all playing at such a high level. It's really, really phenomenal stuff to watch. We've got another super chat, this one from Stringer. Flopping in the NBA is tiring. First Brunson, now Yoke. I think we'll get to the Brunson talk. This was a nasty showing from him. Jokic also just throwing his body around in this one. I mean, definitely trying to elicit calls. I wouldn't put them in the same category, because what I would say is Jokic is just emphasizing contact. He is dramatizing contact so that officials see it. Brunson is going out of his way to create contact that is illegitimate, that is unnatural in terms of being a actual shot attempt, a natural basketball motion. That to me is more problematic. Both of them are flopping. One of them is really, really foul grifting, though, and that's Brunson.
I'm okay with it, like when a guy pump fakes and gets a dude off his feet or something like that, and if he gets into where he was going to jump
I
into. But
know
I don't like, I don't ever like when a guy is just jumping into someone or like just
100%.
the difference is like when it's super deliberate. Honestly, the worst offender to me that come to mind is like Reeves. Austin Reeves is the first guy that I always think of about doing it, and then Trey Young. And my argument is always if you
Brunson's in that top tier, man. He is.
if you want them to stop doing it, then the refs just have to stop awarding the players for playing like that. Then guys will stop doing it. Like then you just let them turn the ball over and then they can complain about it, but they'll learn. Like I just don't think you should reward that style of play.
I completely agree. The officials said years ago that they were going to stop rewarding those sort of unnatural launch angles by offensive players, and they haven't done that, obviously. So I just thought that sucked. I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like, if you pump fake a dude and he jumps into your landing space, that is obviously a foul. That's good, crafty basketball. When you pump fake a dude and then you lean and jump forward into his space, that is not a defensive foul. And we have to stop calling that a defensive foul. And Brunson got two big ones of those in the fourth quarter. So sometimes I think like the foul baiting narrative is overplayed when people complain about it. But listen, it's certainly more prevalent in today's NBA than it ever has been before. And Brunson is like truly one of the nastiest grifters that there is. And this was a really nasty performance from him on that front.